Well, hey there. It is Monday, and the gang is all here. We're here to welcome you to the 4 to 5. I'm Tanya Rivera. Got meteorologist Tim Buckley going down the line. Lauren Coleman, Amanda Ferguson.
Thanks for watching us on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
It is Memorial Day, and we're honoring fallen men and women, those soldiers, and a lot of those events had to be moved inside today due to all the rain. How's it looking now?
It's been a tough weekend for sure. You know, as expected, it has not been good weather. It's still really not good weather outside, but we're starting to see at least a little bit of improvement. One thing you hadn't seen all weekend that is starting to happen right now is that we're having some tiny breaks of sunshine. Looking right now at mostly cloudy skies across the area. This is all 4 sky cameras at once, and you can see it's actually a little bit different in all 4 of our cities. Sometimes there have been some showers. Other times it's been just cloudy or even some sun poking through those clouds. Live look in Burlington right now. Notice you'll see some brightening up of the sky at this point, and you have warmed up a little bit. It's up to 73 degrees, which is by far the warmest it has been all weekend. Let me show you the radar. There's not a ton of rain out there, but there are some spits and sprinkles that are going to annoy you because we've had too much of this, and there's still going to be more of it to come over the next couple of hours. Show you Guilford County as an example. That's downtown Greensboro, McLeansville, 29. Look at that downpour that's moving right there in northeast Guilford. You can see it's small. It might only be a mile wide, but if you get caught in it, it's going to rain pretty hard for about 5 minutes. Then it'll stop, then the sun will come out. It's one of those type of afternoons. Farther up the road here, we're looking at you in Reedsville. There's 29, here's Monroeton. We have a couple of downpours also. They are not moving in a traditional direction. They're actually coming in out of the north and east. So keep that in mind when you're using your News 2 app and you're tracking at home. They're moving backwards compared to usual. It's all because of this swirling low pressure area. We talked about it over the weekend. It was sitting near the coast. It moved in and well, it doesn't have anywhere to go, so it's still sitting over us. Not expecting a lot of heavy rain or really any heavy rain over the next couple of days, but we will still have scattered showers for Tuesday, and we will still have mostly cloudy skies. There'll be a little bit more sunshine tomorrow than what we had for today, and that should help us to warm up to at least around 70 degrees, but still pretty similar weather, not as nice as you might like. Mostly cloudy, highs in the upper 60s, right around 70, and again, that low chance of a scattered shower from time to time. We'll talk a little bit more about your 7-day forecast coming up in a couple minutes.
Well, today is Memorial Day, the day to honor the service members killed in the line of duty. It also happens to be the end of Mental Health Awareness Month and then the start of PTSD awareness. Both of those, of course, impacting active and off-duty service members.
That's why a family in Lexington is using today to honor their son while also spreading a message. For the Mainers, their son didn't pass away serving. It was a different battle that took his life.
WFMY News 2's Hunter Funk shares their story.
He was Specialist Nicholas J. Maynor. He was with the U.S. Army, 10th Mountain Division. Climb to glory was their motto. He went in right after high school, but it's what he always wanted to do.
Nicholas Maynor went from graduating boot camp to boots on the ground within a month.
He was in Afghanistan from January 2011 to October 2011. They lost people from their unit over there. So it took a really hard toll on him.
Their division lost 6 members. When Nicholas got back, things were different.
He was one of a kind. He made the best out of the situation. He made people laugh. But when he came back, he was just a totally different person. He was not my Nicholas anymore. He was hardened.
She says her son carried on. He was active in the Army Reserves, working for the state, and moved to Nevada with his friends. But she says the post-traumatic stress from being on the front lines impacted him.
We didn't talk a whole lot about it. He didn't want to. I think it's just certain things he saw and certain things he had to do. He just kept it all bottled up inside.
Then, 6 years later, she got a phone call.
I heard them say, we just found Nicholas, and he shot himself, and he won't survive. And I can just remember screaming his name, and my phone hitting the floor, and my husband and oldest son come flying in there. This is his memorial room.
She found out later Nicholas started to get help, but it was too late.
Every day is Memorial Day for our family, But I try to bring as much awareness as I can because they can't get the help that I feel like they deserve.
Stephanie is honoring her son's legacy daily, and a piece of that is raising awareness about military suicides. Her Jeep is decked out in tributes to Nicholas,
Everything on my Jeep has a meaning.
but also covered in the saying 22 a day.
I have a bunch of 22 a day stuff on it.
It's a military suicide movement to get service members help, and the 22 represents the 22 veterans that take their own lives every day. Stephanie says one is too many, and she'll continue her son's legacy through awareness. This Memorial Day, she also wants to remind people that for every person that served, they deserve to be honored. She says no matter how they passed away, the battle that they fought took a toll just for us to have our freedom.
Anybody who served, regardless of how they died, they should be remembered.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story, and something that impacts a lot of people with PTSD when it comes to people who serve in the military. You know, I have a lot of people who served our country in my family. I think a lot of times people don't even realize that they need help or realize that they are struggling with something. So I think it's so important for us to share stories like this and the resources that are out there.
Yeah, and there are more resources than there have been,
Yes.
right? And that has been a long time coming.
Yeah, and I think to know that you're not alone in this, that help is available and you can get through it with the help that you need.
And also knowing the signs, you know, as family and friends. I know when my dad came back from Iraq the first time, we were living on a military base at the time, and I remember it was 4th of July, and there were some fireworks happening on the base, and I remember he was kind of jumpy. That seems like something so small, but it could be something so much bigger. So I think it's important that not only the service people know that there's resources out there, but the families to know as well.
Yeah, and you heard that mom talking about it, the 22 veterans dying by suicide, and it's alarming to think that that is happening every single day. That's about 8,000 people a year. Earlier this month, the group Veterans Walk hosted a 1-mile walk in Greensboro to spark a conversation about veteran suicide and PTSD.
It's a life-saving campaign, and that's what we're trying to do, is just save some lives. These guys are heroes. There's no reason they should be dying so soon.
Organizers are hoping that the walk leads to a national movement.
There are several Memorial Day services happening in the Triad this morning. Hundreds gathered at the Carolina Field of Honor in Kernersville at Triad Park. There was a color guard, the Jamestown pipes and drums, special music, the laying of the wreath, taps, and more. Organizers say it's how we can honor the veterans who put their life on the line fighting for our country.
You know, it's very unique about and very special about today. Not only it's a day of remembrance, but the weather here is not perfect. It's a lot of rain, a lot of mist, but people still show up. And why do they show up? I believe they show up because they want to give respect and honor to those that have passed. And that just really means a lot to those of us that are out here.
The Carolina Field of Honor is the largest memorial to honor veterans on the East Coast outside of Washington, D.C. It opened in 2014, and over 3,500 veterans are already enshrined at the monument.
It's time now for your 4 to 5 roundup. A feud between two groups of teenagers leaves one dead. Burlington police say a 16-year-old was the one targeted in the shooting. It happened last night on Hatch Street. Officers found the 16-year-old shot to death. Neighbors say they were just shocked to find out the news.
Yeah, it's very unsettling. Like, we live right there, you know what I mean? And I was talking to one of the neighbors, and it's just too close to home. We know the neighborhood ain't the top notch, but you know what I mean? It is our area, and we're concerned about these kids running around with these guns now.
Right now, police are still working to identify the 16-year-old and the suspects in the shooting, but investigators did confirm that the teen was a Southern Alamance High School student.
Meanwhile, in Winston-Salem, police are investigating a pair of unrelated shootings. The first one happened at a shopping center on New Walkertown Road. Police found a man shot in the chest. They say the victim was having a conversation with the suspect when things escalated. The man is expected to be okay. The second shooting happened over on East 22nd Street. Police say one person was shot in the arm and is expected to be okay. If you know anything about either of these shootings, call Crime Stoppers.
More Americans are getting away this Memorial Day. AAA says some 42 million people were expected to travel for the holiday weekend, a 47% increase from last year. They're also spending more, with expenses rising by 6%. Today is the big travel day home, but flight bookings tomorrow and Wednesday are up by double digits as some travelers are extending their holiday weekend.
After announcing a joint deal to raise the debt limit, President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy now have to promote the plan to members of their own party to get it passed. The drama is far from over, with lawmakers on both sides criticizing some of the concessions. After a weekend of high-stakes negotiations, President Biden and the Republican House Speaker say they're confident they brokered a 2-year deal to lift the debt ceiling by $4 trillion, extending it until after the 2024 election.
It takes the threat of catastrophic default off the table, protects our hard-earned and historic economic recovery, and the agreement also represents a compromise.
And that it will satisfy enough members of Congress to assure it passes before the June 5th deadline the Treasury has set to avoid default.
It doesn't get everything everybody wanted, but that's in divided government. That's where we end up.
The deal prevents cuts to Social Security and Medicare, as well as military and veterans programs. It also claws back funding from the IRS, $10 billion in both fiscal years 2024 and 2025, and takes back the unspent money from COVID relief funds. It also loosens some environmental rules and temporarily adds work requirements for some social safety net programs, including food stamps.
Terrible policy. Absolutely terrible policy.
The chair of the Democratic Progressive Caucus voiced concerns about those new requirements.
I think it is really unfortunate that the president opened the door to this.
While a group of Republicans in the Conservative Freedom Caucus say the deal doesn't cut enough spending or reduce the deficit. Congressman Ralph Norman tweeted the deal was insanity, while his colleague Chip Roy colorfully called it a turd sandwich. Opposition on both sides gives this deal a narrow path to passage. It will require votes from both sides of the aisle. But House leaders are voicing confidence they'll get it done.
I do expect that there will be Democratic support.
This is a good, strong bill that a majority of Republicans will vote for.
The House Rules Committee says it will meet tomorrow to discuss the debt ceiling bill. We'll be right back. Stick with us. There's a little piece of history in the High Point Police Department. Assistant Chief Petula Sellers is retiring after 21 years on the force.
Major Sellers is the highest ranking woman in the police department's history, a true pioneer for sure. Her last day is Thursday. Now she says she's choosing to hang up her badge to make a way for the next generation of officers.
Sellers actually says a career in law enforcement was never the plan.
Throughout school and early college years, that's not what I was going to do. I didn't have aspirations to be a police officer. I wanted to work in marketing.
It wasn't until her early 20s when tragedy struck her family that the direction of her life path changed. She says her relative was killed in a traffic accident after someone pushed a boulder over a bridge and it went through their windshield.
Well, after that incident, she got a degree in criminal justice and she started working in the court system before joining the department.
Someone saw something in me and they recommended, I think you would be good for this position. So you go to that position, and then someone else recommends the next step, and someone says, I think you would be good in leadership.
Well, Sellers says she knows her time is coming to an end with the department, but she says she's praying that her impact has been enough.
As for what's next, she says she's already has a couple of well-earned vacations lined up. Congratulations.
Hey there, welcome back. Weird weather we're having, isn't it? Yes, we all know that. I want to show you something though. So this is going to be an animation over a couple of hours and you'll see different conditions in each of our triad cities. So here we go, hitting play right now. Notice showers occasionally in spots, but never at one point is the weather the same in any two locations, which means all of us have had a little bit different day at different times. Right now, there's actually more sunshine starting to pop out in more areas. You can tell by looking at the temperature map. Take a look. 75 for you in Caswell County currently, 74 in Reedsville. Greensboro just hit 70 for the first time since last week. 60 still though in Asheboro. That's where clouds have been a little bit thicker and you're still dealing with at least some showers. Charlotte, they've been having a hard time doing racing this weekend. I think they're going right now, which is good. They're still cool and cloudy cloudy too. But zooming out, you'll notice it's really been nice summery weather pretty much everywhere in the country except for here. That's been because of our pesky low pressure area that keeps on swirling around. Right now, it is here in the Carolinas, North, South Carolina, Virginia, still seeing some clouds and showers, and it will not be in a hurry to get out of here. So for the rest of today, kind of what you see is what you get. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, a few breaks of sun, and a couple still spotty showers. For tomorrow, more of the same. Clouds will be a little thick in the morning, but as the day wears on, we'll develop more breaks of sun and still a couple scattered showers that will develop throughout the day. Not terribly wet, but every now and again, there might be a shower. Wednesday, similar situation. Clouds in the morning, sun for the afternoon. The next 2 days, we'll have highs right around 70 degrees, just like today. So we're still going to be way below average. Going to save a little money on your air conditioning, right, over the next couple of afternoons. For tomorrow, it looks like this. Mid-60s for the morning, near 70 for the afternoon. Rain chance a little bit higher in the morning, but there is possibility of a scattered shower truly at about any point. Something interesting, we've been below average for almost 2 weeks now. Take a look at the month of May. We've been really cool ever since the 18th, highs in the 60s and 70s. We actually haven't touched 80 degrees since the 17th, and our average high is 81. I think we'll do it again, but it'll take a couple of days. We'll be back there by the 80-degree mark by Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. Pretty dry and pretty nice weather shaping up actually for the upcoming weekend. Next best chance for rain aside from tomorrow, that'll be coming up Monday of next week.
Memorial Day is one of 11 federal holidays, and typically on Memorial Day we fire up the grill, right? But with the rain, nobody really wants a soggy hot dog. So instead of grilling out, my friends and I did a Super Sunday. We had flights of different types of soup, everything from mushroom and rosemary to pizza soup. Yes, pizza soup. I asked you on Facebook, hey, what is your favorite soup? And Sandra said potato, and we did the same thing. I think yesterday was definitely a soup kind of day. Pam posted, great idea. I can eat soup almost any time of the year, especially if it's cooler. Chili is the fave. Melita said, we had vegetable beef soup. Chili is my favorite, but that pizza soup looks delicious, and it was. Larry says he had taco soup and a chicken stew. And Rhonda said her family had tomato bisque and grilled cheese sandwiches. I know you like.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. So Lauren said she likes a grilled sandwich with her soup too. So all right, you do too, Amanda. And honorable mention, our producer told us his favorite is between broccoli cheddar and lobster bisque or Brunswick stew. So he has 3 favorites. Aaron, pick one.
Broccoli cheddar is pretty good. Panera has a good broccoli cheddar. So I do like tomato bisque or lobster bisque or any kind of bisque. But I need you to tell the folks what was in this pizza soup. Because when you were telling me about it earlier, I immediately went to look up the ingredients.
And she found the skinny version. And I'm just telling you, it is not a skinny version. So you got a big jar of tomato sauce. And I think she said she used 16 ounces of cream cheese. That's a lot of cream cheese. Now, it was a big, huge pot of soup, right? Okay. And she said she had to get the liquids right or whatever else. But she said between that and then all the pizza toppings that you like. So if you like pepperoni or Italian sausage or mushrooms or olives, you stick it in there.
That sounds amazing. What about you?
That sounds so good. I would love to try that. But no, I'm a tomato bisque kind of girl.
Tomato bisque, but a grilled
with
cheese.
the grilled cheese.
You cannot go wrong with that.
There's something about all of that grilled cheesiness all together, don't you think? Do you dip it in the soup?
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
They're
It's a
dippers.
must.
It's the way you have to do it.
Alrighty, we'll be right back. Stick with us.
Welcome to your 4 to 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tanya Rivera. Got meteorologist Tim Buckley here, Lauren Coleman, Amanda Ferguson. We're all here on this Monday.
Yeah, thanks for watching us on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
We have a lot to talk about this half hour, from crazy crashes on the racetrack to the top things you need for a successful road trip. But the big story today is that weather. Everybody wants to know, when does the rain move out?
How have y'all been handling this weather?
I stayed inside all weekend and watched Netflix. I caught up on Bridgerton. I watched a new documentary, so I was inside like all weekend.
Good weather for inside.
I don't mind it, but I would like to go to the pool one day.
See? Yeah, change of pace.
All right, here's the thing. Maybe this is not a popular thing, but when it rains, nobody expects you to do anything. So that is your chance to like lay low and like rest up.
And sit on the couch and watch Netflix.
That's
like
right.
I did.
So just enjoy it.
Well, your boss might expect you to come to work tomorrow.
Well, that,
so we're going to get you the forecast here. We have a little bit more going on with rain still scattered about the area. There's not as much as there was yesterday or earlier today, and at this point we finally started to break up the cloud cover a little bit, so we have some scattered sunshine currently. But let's take a look at the radar because more things are happening. Believe it or not, the sun that is poking out is actually creating a couple of these showers, because when you get the sunshine, you actually are heating up the earth, and that rising air can help more easily create some little downpours. This is what's happening in Guilford County. We're seeing a few downpours right there along the urban loop, my favorite road in the whole world, by the way. We have some scattered downpours in northeast Greensboro. We have a few up in northern Alamance County. They're really potent too. They don't last long, just about 1 to 2 minutes, but they really do have some rain to them because they're so small, but really putting down some good amount of water. We see this low pressure area just is still spinning. So why has it been with us so long? There's nothing to push it away, and there's nowhere for it to go. So that's why it is stuck right here in the Carolinas, at least for a little while longer. Here's how we see tonight shaping up. Scattered shower will remain, and then going into tomorrow, more clouds in the morning, a sprinkle or a light shower possible at any point throughout the day, and still way cooler than average. Same story for Wednesday. So we have about 2 more days that look like this, with extra clouds, cooler temperatures. We'll be in the mid-60s in the morning tomorrow, around 70 for your afternoon high, and an occasional shower is possible at any time. Same idea for Wednesday. We'll call it in the low 70s the next 2 days. Warmer after that. We'll have partly sunny skies Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Finally, getting a little bit back closer to average. High temperatures will be right around 80 as we work our way toward the end of the week and into the weekend.
All this rain is making it difficult for racing. The Coca-Cola 600 is underway right now at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was supposed to happen yesterday, but officials decided to postpone the race because of weather. Hundreds of Triad NASCAR fans made the trip to Charlotte to see the races after a successful NASCAR All-Star Week in North Wilkesboro.
Man, it was great camping in Wilkesboro. It was awesome to see that track back. It was almost like you were in a dream for the 3 days you were up there. And then we packed up our buddy's camper and come down here to Charlotte. It was my 18th year down in Charlotte.
The Xfinity Series race was originally scheduled to start before the Coca-Cola 600, but officials decided to push it back to after.
All right, while the fans in Charlotte wait on the rain, the weather isn't what got everyone's attention at the Indy 500. No, Joseph Newgarden won the race for the first time, but that was not the only headline from the race. There was this really scary crash involving Kyle Kirkwood. We're going to show it to you in just a minute. One of his tires got clipped by another driver, sending him into the wall and then upside down. Okay, even after you see that, he is, okay. There were only 16 laps left in the race when it happened. Well, the clipped tire went over the safety barrier, and thankfully, it went through like this small opening in the stands. The tire landed in the parking lot and hit a car, but luckily, no one was injured.
That was nothing but God there.
I did not believe that.
Yeah, and then after he flipped over, he skid for several feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dangerous sport, but that is scary to see.
The camera from the inside, and you can see him. He flips over whatever, and then you see
that.
all the stuff behind him. And
I just think about how tall those safe barriers are. If something like this would make them want it to go even taller, because that could have ended really bad.
Oh, the tire.
Yeah, the tire.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That could have ended horribly. It'd be a different story that we'd be reporting on.
That is crazy that in all the places that could have gone and that went in that opening and then landed in the street and nobody got hurt. Thank God, but. It's crazy.
I know, because you think that those barriers are high enough. They've been doing that for years and years.
And this is something too maybe they'll probably look into, because they are always trying to get this sport to be as safe as possible.
Yeah. All right. So this Memorial Day, nearly 1 million veterans have dedicated their medical records to scientific research. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs hopes that this budding program will have a lasting impact on future generations of servicemen and women, and then in turn will help save lives. Skylar Henry reports.
It was a hard decision to give it up, but if I only have that much time, I want to spend it with my family.
Retired Marine Roger Brannon had every intention to still be on active duty. He completed 2 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq.
I thought I had a body of steel because I never got injured, and but then you get this diagnosis.
The 52-year-old medically retired after being diagnosed with the neurodegenerative disease ALS. Research shows veterans are twice as likely to develop the debilitating condition compared to those who haven't served.
I'm not giving up. I never will, but it's still there in the back of your mind that your body's going away and you're losing muscles and you're losing the ability to do things that you love to do.
That's why Brannon is taking part in the Million Veteran Program. The goal of the Department of Veterans Affairs initiative is to learn more about how genes, lifestyle, and military exposure affect the health of service members.
To find new cures, new treatments, and diagnostic markers.
And it's not just ALS. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, even mental health issues are under the microscope. So far, more than 950,000 veterans have signed up.
What we learn in veterans is going to apply to all people. So it's going to be useful for mankind at large.
If I can change one person with ALS lives, that I can let them know that you're not alone.
Brannon hopes his contributions to science will help other military families who are fighting this disease. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Officials from the VA say their goal is to reach 1 million veterans in the program's registry by Veterans Day later this year.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A Memorial Day tribute in High Point. This morning, dozens gathered at the corner of Main and High Street to remember our fallen military heroes. Both the Randolph County Honor Guard and Guilford Courthouse Fife and Drum Corps attended the ceremony. There was also music, a couple of speakers, and the special wreath laying.
This week, Fort Bragg will officially become Fort Liberty. A ceremony is planned on Friday to celebrate the name change. Last year, a committee approved the change to avoid any association with its namesake, General Braxton Bragg. He was a Confederate general and former slave owner. The base also renamed 9 streets because of its Confederate ties. Officials estimate the change to Fort Liberty will cost more than $6 million.
Don't be alarmed if you see a big fire tomorrow. The Greensboro Fire Department says recruits will be undergoing live fire training for most of the day. The exercises will take place on Millwood School Road. Officials say you shouldn't worry about the smoke that may be in the air. The trainings are scheduled to start at 8 tomorrow morning and end at 5 p.m.
As another graduation season comes to a close, there's new research on which college majors lead to the top-paying jobs. An analysis from the HEA group found operations research, marine engineering, and computer science majors all average 6-figure salaries just 4 years out of school. Now, the top-paying majors tend to be in STEM fields, but aren't the most popular with most students.
Postseason NCAA college baseball is coming to the Triad. Wake Forest is the #1 overall seed and will host one of 16 regionals for the upcoming NCAA baseball tournament. This marks the first time since 2017 that postseason games will be played here in Winston-Salem. Head coach Tom Walter and his players say while their season's been great, there is still more to play for.
When this team, when you got guys like Brock Wilkin and you know that's his last year, he's going to be, a first rounder, and, Cam Manassi and Brett Lauder and Seth Keener, and the list goes on and on of guys. So you definitely take a moment to reflect and just appreciate, being in the dugout with those guys. And again, what I love about this team is win or lose, they bring the energy, they care about each other. They're into every pitch, so yeah, you do. We appreciate it every single day because it's something that doesn't happen every year.
Every time I go out there, there's a lot of us that we don't have a lot of games left together, so we kind of just want to cherish the ones we do have left. And like he said earlier, we have a lot of fun, so we all look forward to coming and playing with one another. So I don't think we're going to take any for granted.
that's what we've been doing all year. Never been complacent with anything, and I think that's why we've had so much success. Even though we are #1 ranked team, we never get complacent with anything. Whether it's workouts, lifts, practice, we never get complacent. A lot of teams are going out there and practicing shorts, and we still got practicing pants every day. So it's little things like that let us know, and to never be complacent with anything on a baseball field.
There's just so many ways to get better in this game, and then there's always stuff you can do better. You can point out a bunch of things we did today just to improve. So we're never going to reach perfection, but we definitely can strive for it.
The Demon Deacons Open Tournament play Friday against George Mason. This one gets underway at 7 p.m. Maryland and Northeastern get the day started in Winston-Salem with the 1 p.m. first pitch. Over the last couple of months, there's been a big push to advance artificial intelligence. The technology has recently been in the news, writing papers, photoshopping images, and even mimicking the voices of famous artists. In Washington, lawmakers are debating if this new technology could be dangerous.
It's one of my areas of greatest concern, the more general ability of these models to manipulate, to persuade, to provide sort of one-on-one, interactive disinformation. I think that's like a broader version of what you're talking about, but given that we're going to face an election next year and these models are getting better, I think this is a significant area of concern.
Lawmakers are considering a new federal agency to monitor and police the industry.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is rapidly growing in popularity and changing almost by the minute. It's the ability for machines to perform human cognitive functions. Professors at Notre Dame weighed in on the technology.
Our nation's leaders,
quickly trying to get a handle on how to control this latest wave of future technology. Within the last week, a Senate subcommittee discussed regulating artificial intelligence.
We definitely need regulation. We needed it yesterday, if not 5 years ago, because this is all getting away from us too quickly. And the real problem here is that there's nobody in governments who's really tasked with understanding the powerful ability to use AI as a weapon.
Fellow Notre Dame professor Dr. John Behrens also has concerns, especially when it comes to people using this technology inappropriately.
Now it's something anybody can just download or get access to and start using, and that's really going to cause some problems, and it is an area for concern for sure, and it might be an area for regulation.
But amid those concerns, experts also feel AI technology potentially has many benefits as well.
We can make press releases faster, we can make images that we might use for marketing faster, we can even make marketing copy faster. But we also see some of that productivity perhaps in education, where we might have intelligent tutors that can help with the instruction.
Dr. Shirk says she's already found ways to incorporate AI into her teaching.
We're using, evidence-based communication tactics for good communication to say, what do you see when you see something on social media that's false or hateful? How do you respond to that? So we're building an AI tool which generates a bunch of different answers or responses for people to use.
I think this is a really powerful tool. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, but there's a lot of scary things that can happen with it too. So I think there needs to be a measure of how we're going to police how it's used. I know I was on Instagram like a couple weeks ago and I saw someone post it was Rihanna's singing voice singing different songs by other people.
Oh, yes.
And it sounded just like her.
Right.
That could be actually kind of scary. I mean, that was entertaining in that moment, but that means anyone could take your voice and, do crimes with it.
And they're doing it already.
Yeah.
That's
the
right.
scary
There's
part
always
of
the
it.
downside of great technology, right? And we always seem to be behind the curve of figuring out how do we police that and make sure that we're ahead of the game.
But if you can use it to your advantage, that's the way to go.
For like the marketing things and whatever.
Or
else, like
police investigations, but
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot, especially in the soundbite before the package when he talked about the upcoming election, because we already see bots and different things on the internet. So now we're incorporating, people can just make up anything. That
That's
would be
right. And
very
make you
scary.
think that it's correct. Yes.
Alrighty, we'll be right back.
Millions of people are heading home after a rainy Memorial Day weekend. Experts say it'll be the most congested Memorial Day travel since before the pandemic. AAA says the worst time for travel tomorrow will be between 4 and 6 p.m. They say it should be less congested before 2 p.m. and after 6 p.m. When it comes to filling up the gas tank, Gas Buddy says the best day to fill up is Monday because it typically follows 2 days of economic stability. Experts say Fridays are the worst because gas stations usually tweak their prices before the weekend.
So this summer, folks will be heading out on road trips. I asked you on my Facebook page, what are some road trip necessities? Pamela Rich says chargers for the phone and tablets, snacks, water, sodas, hand sanitizer, and tissue. Cortez wrote a good playlist. Paul says toilet paper is a must just in case rest areas are out, along with gas stations. You never know when or where you might have to go. Melvin Mungo says depends. I need a good talker so I won't get bored. And then Squeaky says water, neck pillow, and snacks. I guess the neck pillow is if you're the passenger.
Yes.
This is one of those.
I'm going to go back to the toilet paper. So this is...
We weren't going to get away without that, huh?
This is somebody who is prepared for anything.
Yes.
I want to see his house. I think he's got like gallon jugs of water everywhere. He's got all the supplies needed for any situation.
Yeah, prepare for the end of the world in his basement. I don't either.
But you travel with napkins in your glove compartment.
Yeah, a
Never
couple
for
of
that
them.
purpose, at least in my mind.
Maybe to blow my nose or
Could
something.
use it if you needed to.
That's true. My glove compartment's a big old napkin mess.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Straws too. Cookout always gives me a straw for my milkshake. I never use it.
Because it's basically ice cream in a cup.
Yes.
What about you? What's the
Snacks.
necessity?
Snacks,
Okay.
coffee, snacks, like magazine, something, maybe a podcast.
Yes.
I mean, I just feel like if it's over 5 hours, you better bring me some entertainment.
Yeah, the good playlist and the true crime podcast.
Ooh,
That is
okay.
what I need. Or a friend that I can talk to on the phone and talk their ear off
Gotcha.
on the way
That's
to
what
my
I do.
location.
I'm not really a road tripper, but when I am driving, I need someone to talk to.
Yeah, it makes the time go by
Any of
quickly.
you travel with a pillow?
No,
I don't.
No?
I do not.
A lot of people travel with pillows. I don't, but a lot of people in my family, they bring their own pillow so they could use it in the car, and then that's the one they like for when you get where you're going.
Yeah, I prefer just flying. I mean, for me,
too.
I can drive up to 5 hours, but after that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I just want to fly.
Yeah, let's
Fly
just
me
fly.
anywhere.
I want to get flued out.
Flew
I
down.
just want to get to my destination.
All right, speaking of.
Well, right now you might want to fly to some sunshine. So let's show you where that is currently. It's not so much right here where we live. We've had some clouds, some showers every now and again throughout the day today. This is kind of how it's looked over the last couple of hours on our sky cameras. Still looking at a mostly cloudy sky, but over the last little bit, there have been some more breaks. So there's been more brighter weather lately with some sunshine starting to develop. Temperatures currently really are a little bit different depending on where you are. Mid-70s up here near the Virginia border where there's been more sunshine. Mid-60s well to the south. So that 10-degree difference is because sun versus rain showers. That's what's been happening. We still have cooler than average weather in our part of the country, but it's very warm pretty much everywhere else. You saw Buffalo, New York, 85 and sunny. Not here. Most of the country had a great weekend, even as we did not. Our swirling low pressure is still here, hanging out. It's going to be tough to kick it out of here because there's really nothing to move it along and nowhere for it to go. So what you see is what you get heading into tomorrow. We'll have more clouds kind of building in overnight. We'll wake up to an overcast sky tomorrow morning. It's just going to be a gray day with occasional sprinkles or showers. Not as bad as today. We're getting a little bit better, a little bit more sun from time to time, but it's still pretty cool out there. That's going to be your Tuesday. Temperatures in the mid-60s for the morning, near 70 for your afternoon. Same idea for Wednesday. Take a look at the forecast here. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, maybe a spotty shower in spots. And then as we go into the end of the week and the weekend, that's where things start to improve. Upper 70s, low 80s, that's where we should be. We'll be there going into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're back right after this.
WFMY News 2 is highlighting your loved ones on this memorial.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, 109876 by 4321. 109876 by 4321.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Mic check, mic check.
Hello, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Memorial Day is a day to remember those lost in the line of duty. And on the Good Morning Show, we heard a new take on the day to also consider. One triad mother's story was so powerful, I had to share it with you. I must warn you, this one is tough to hear, but it's important. Stephanie Mayner's son Nicholas fought in Afghanistan in 2011. His division lost 6 members. When Nicholas got back home, things were different.
I think it's just certain things he saw and certain things he had to do. He just kept it all bottled up inside.
After fighting PTSD for 6 years, Nicholas killed himself. One of 22 veterans that commit suicide every day, according to the Military Veteran Project. Just because our troops come home from conflict doesn't mean the conflict goes away from them. There are lots of great resources to help. You can find them all by searching for PTSD on WFMYnews2.com. And if you ever need to talk, call the crisis line at 988. Our brave men and women risk so much to protect us. So this Memorial Day, we honor those who died in battle. We also should pause to remember those who died because of the battle. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Another young life cut short in the triad. The plea neighbors are making to end the deadly gunfire before another life is taken.
And today we remember the brave men and women who fought for our country, how the triad is honoring those who died, protecting our everyday freedoms.
A U.S. debt deal is on the horizon, but it didn't come without compromise from both sides when negotiators had to give up. Next.
But first, cool and wet weather is taking over the triad. Live radar is showing a